Hello, everybody. Welcome to our MCU 11, Mickey 11 MCU Mondays rewatch, re-ranking of all the Marvel movies. Here with Chad, Mike Brown, all the way from New York City. Hello tonight, guys. How you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
good, good. Took the day off of work today so they can install a fire alarm things in our apartment today. So
Is that what
that
Hey,
was cool.
that's what all those clicky sounds are?
No, that's my dryer. I
Oh.
probably shouldn't be doing laundry right now.
eh,
Just realized that. Yeah.
do what you got to do. How are you
Yeah.
doing, Chad?
I'm doing all right.
Cool.
I decided to work from home today, and don't tell my bosses, but I played Dice Legacy for at least 3 hours.
Well, let's hope they're not watching right now.
If they are, I will charge it to my vacation time.
No,
Fair.
that's fair. So you can have it open in,
Retroactive.
yeah, have it open in a different tab while you have work in the other one, and
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I had my email open up on one screen because I got a dual monitor setup.
nice.
So anytime someone asked me to actually do something, I exited out of the game and did it,
There you
and
go.
then went back to the game.
Yeah, this is basically just how work works anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of what everybody does anyway. Like I
Yeah.
sit on the airplane and just play blackjack on my phone, and then someone's like, "Hey, can I get a Diet Coke?" Yeah, here you go. Let me pause this. Here's your Diet Coke. Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Off to the races.
hmm
I'm a flight attendant for those of you who are watching and were like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically a bartender in the sky.
But you know who
Yeah.
isn't a bartender in the sky?
Who's that?
T'Challa.
Yeah,
hmm
that's right. So yeah, to get started, we're gonna recap the plot of the movie. I didn't come up with a game for it this week either. So I think we haven't done it in a while. Is doing it in alphabetical order. So we'll just go
Okay,
through.
I, I better look for my alphabet cheat sheet again so I don't forget.
Yeah. So we're gonna recap the whole plot from the very beginning all the way to the end in alphabetical order. One starting with the letter B for Black Panther, and then we'll go around the circle. Me to Chad, Mike. We'll go through and we'll describe everything that happens in the movie in 26 sentences or less. So
There's going to
Wait,
be a
hang
lot
on.
of run-on sentences.
yeah.
This is a concept that I'm not familiar with.
Oh,
What are we
okay.
doing now?
So
We're going to
recapping
try
the
and recap the plot of the
yeah,
movie,
just to
but
remind
every
everybody what
sentence
happened.
has to start with the next letter of the
Oh, so
alphabet
it's the
from
alphabet
the
game.
previous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
set
it's
off
the
the beginning.
alphabet
That's a
game,
short form
but
improv
we're
game.
cutting
Gotcha.
it off at 26 sentences for some
Yeah,
reason.
Cool. All
there's
right.
26 letters in the alphabet, right?
Yeah,
I'm not getting that
that's the
confused with
correct
something
amount of
else.
letters.
Okay, yeah, because there's 24 hours in the day, 26 letters in the alphabet, and then 20
There is the book, The
seven
26-Hour Day,
dresses.
I think.
Oh, this isn't a book show, so we'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here we
All right.
go.
So
Cool.
you're starting with B,
I'll
right?
start. Yeah, I'll start with B. Um, because it's the beginning of the movie, we have to have a fable telling us how the the nation of Wakanda became so powerful, which is it's on top of a giant meteorite full of vibranium. Chad.
Chad is me, and I'm the one who's going to do the next sentence,
Yeah.
which is to say that after the fable, you flash back to Oakland and you see T'Challa's dad when he was the Black Panther, and he is trying to stop a someone who has betrayed him.
Darkness has overtaken the scene outside as the sun has already gone down, and children are on the basketball courts watching some kind of uh, uh, thing happen in the apartment building, or rather, not just the children, but one specific child. Keep in mind, this is 1993,
So
I believe.
92. Yeah.
92. James, young James. Was it young James? I think it was James. No, it was, we know who it was.
Was
It was a young Killmonger.
Eric,
oh
He's
yes,
Eric
Eric.
was
Eric.
his
Thank
first
you.
name.
Yeah.
young Eric Killmonger is standing on the basketball court watching something happen in the window of his apartment building.
Wow. Eric is seeing something through the window, and that thing is the king of Wakanda, T'Chaka, the father of T'Challa. He's confronting Sterling K. Brown, the father of Eric Killmonger, because he's planning to do something. I don't think we know yet, but something with weapons. They're planning some kind of a heist or something, an attack on somebody. They're gonna get stopped by the king, who's taking them back to Wakanda, or so we think. And I think that's the end of our flashback. Oh, they also talk about Claw, Ulysses Claw. Roy's not here, but he's like, if Roy had neck tattoos, he would be Ulysses Claw. That's what I say.
You forgot
Ah,
that the end of the scene was not that they were about to be taken back. It
something.
was when it was revealed that the guy
Oh
who was
yes,
standing next to T'Chaka's brother was actually spying on him,
yeah.
and he's going to grow up to be uh,
Forrest Whitaker.
yeah, Forrest Whitaker. That's how I should have started
Yes.
that sentence.
Gah! You guys are forgetting the main part of that moment, which is that Eric Killmonger's father dies as he tries to attack the king.
That's right. Uh, hey, we're done with that. And now it's the future or the present day. And there's a convoy of trucks that are being ambushed by the present day Black Panther, who's gonna rescue. You think it's a rescue, but really he's just retrieving his ex girlfriend to bring her to his coronation. She was on her own rescue mission that he did to stop. Yeah,
I
right.
think that
Yeah.
the important thing about that scene is that you get to see a little bit of the relationship
Hmm.
between T'Challa and his guards. The what were they called again?
Oh, that's a good one.
The Dora Milaje.
Yeah,
Mm,
the Dor Milaje, and that he has it's not like a king to soldier sort of relationship. They're actually much friendlier than that. And you also see that T'Challa is not the infallible guy that you kind of see him just wrecking shop back in Civil War.
Jabari tribes have not been introduced into the story yet, but what has been introduced to the story yet is the love interest of Black Panther himself. Um, the love interest of Black Panther himself. I don't know
yeah.
if that grammatically works there, but
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, I can't quite remember what Lupita
Nikeo, right?
Nyong'o's
Yeah.
Nakia. That's right,
Nakia.
Nakia, played by Lupita Nyong'o.
Mhm.
And they eventually get her to come back to Wakanda for Black Panther's coronation.
Kinging is what you would call a coronation if you didn't know what the word coronation means, which is when you make someone a king. But coronation is the actual real word for it. But yeah. So then, like, he's preparing for his coronation. He meets his mom, and his sister, and his best friend, the guy from Get Out. And yeah, we get to see all of his family and stuff, and get everybody getting ready for his kinging, his coronation. Right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Later, during the actual kinging ceremony, uh, it's we are introduced to all of the different tribes of Wakanda, as each of them are given the choice whether or not they wish to challenge T'Challa for the role of King and Black Panther.
Meanwhile, the aforementioned Jabari tribe, comes down with M'Baku, who decides he is actually going to war, not war against T'Challa, but challenge him
Yeah.
for the throne.
No one else had the guts or the desire to challenge challenge T'Challa for the kinghood, but M'Baku tried and he failed. He was a mighty warrior, but he got choked out at the end and had to tap out. And so then T'Challa is named the rightful king because he's the best at fighting.
Oh yeah, he absolutely was really good. Sorry, I forgot that it was my turn next. But after that, we actually get to see the king in action, deciding what he wants to do with as far as trying to track down some stolen vibranium that was introduced in a scene that I forgot to mention,
Mm,
that probably took place right after the one that David was talking about, and I jumped ahead.
okay.
Previously, what you were talking about
Mm.
is the scene where uh, 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 Eric Killmonger teams up with Ulysses Claw and uh, I guess Killmonger's girlfriend, who eventually he kills. But yeah, they
Probably.
go to this
Yeah.
museum. They pull off a heist where they get this old Wakandan tool that was made out of vibranium, and yeah, kill a whole bunch of people in the museum, whatever. And then eventually he kills Ulysses Claw, and then brings his body to the border of Wakanda, and he goes, "Ha ha! I'm Wakandan, just like you." And they're like, "Oh shit, this is the body of Ulysses Claw." And
Yeah.
also some Wakandan dude that we don't know who he is just showed up. Okay.
Yeah. Q is James Bond's like guy who gives him all the gadgets and stuff. And there's always a scene in every James Bond movie where he goes down into Q's laboratory and sees what all the cool stuff he's going to use on his mission is. And in this movie, Shuri is kind of T'Challa's Q, and she takes him down and shows him his new suits. He's got a choice of different suits, and she shows him how the kinetic energy armor works, where if he kicks it in the same spot twice, it knocks him on his ass. And she got a good, cool video of that, which I assume that's an Easter egg on the DVD or something. I would hope so. I don't have a DVD of this. Yeah, she's pretty cool. And he's got because he has to go on that mission to South Korea to try to capture Claw, but he gets away when Killmonger rescues him. Also, while they're in Korea, they meet the Hobbit. He's as a CIA agent,
Martin Freeman,
Martin Freeman. Yes.
the Hobbit.
Running down the car in Korea was actually a really cool scene, but we've moved past that, and now we're talking about the interrogation of Claw by Martin Freeman, and uh, he lets everyone know that the world looks at Wakanda as this group of basically like a farming country that's poor, but secretly they have the vibranium and the greatest technology on Earth. And it's they immediately go over there afterwards because Martin Freeman gets shot when Claw is broken out
Oh
by
yeah.
Killmonger.
Stupid me. This is the part of the story where Killmonger, yeah, after he breaks
Right.
out Ulysses Claw from the interrogation room, then he kills him after killing his girlfriend, so he could prove a point, I guess. I don't know. And then he's got like that really cool African mask that he
Mm.
wears like as he does all this stuff. Doesn't mean anything, but it's actually pretty cool looking. And then he goes to Wakanda, to the borders of Wakanda with a Ulysses Claw's dead body, and he goes, "I'm on you."
Then they have to have the council come together and decide whether or not he's really a member of the royal family and has a right to challenge T'Challa for the kinghood. And they say he does because he's the cousin of the king and he's got a right to do that. And they go and they fight in the waterfall again, and he kicks the crap out of T'Challa and kicks him off the waterfall and claims his kinghood. It is now his king or his coronation, as someone who knows what the word is would say. Mhm.
Unfortunately for all of the people that were introduced to at the beginning of the movie, Killmonger is a dude that lives up to his name, and he is not just badass, but he's also obsessed with power, and he wants to use the power of the technology of Wakanda to try and get back at the world for the way that all of their people have been held back all across the world.
Various scenes, and not necessarily flashbacks, but we get to see various ancestors from the ancestral plane. As you know, this is part of the rite of passage to become Black Panther. You have to go through the ceremony of eating the purple flower, going comatose, being taken to the ancestral plane, and then hanging out with your ancestors. But whereas T'Challa had done it before, and he gets to hang out with his father and other like actual legit Black Panthers hanging out in trees. Um, Eric Killmonger, when he eats the purple flower, gets to hang out with his dad, Sterling K. Brown, and they have a heart to heart.
Wakanda's only hope to be saved from their new evil king is to have the last surviving heart-shaped flower stolen away and taken to the Jabari tribe and offered to Umbaku to become the new champion, the new Black Panther, to help overthrow Killmonger. But he goes, I've got an even better idea. We'll just give it back to T'Challa and let him be the Black Panther and take his throne back, because he has him locked away in a cave full of snow. And so they defrost him, give him the flower, and he gets ready to go fight for his throne.
X-Men
Yeah.
character Storm is not in this movie,
Well,
despite what some people would have liked. But T'Challa and those loyal to him eventually head back to the capital of Wakanda to try and continue the challenge because, as he said, it's not over because I'm not dead.
yeah, he
And
didn't yield.
then they have a huge fight scene.
You'd think that Eric Killmonger would have survived this movie because he's such a great villain. But in the throes of this incredible knockdown, drag out battle that include rhinoceroses, Eric Killmonger is killed, unfortunately, to which T'Challa takes pity on him, I guess.
um, Zulu warriors were one of the inspirations. I think they took for a lot some of the warriors in this final battle when they have like their big energy shields and their spears and stuff. And then that was a big thing about this whole movie in general was how they used real African tribes and real African culture to influence the made up stuff in the movie. Um, so yeah, that was a big part of that final fight. And then yeah, but yeah. Trying to think what else. Oh, during that final fight, um, our agent, what's his name? Ross, played by Martin Freeman. He gets that cool remote control jet fighter uh, blowing stuff up scene. So that's
Everett.
pretty cool. Yeah,
Everett Ross.
Everett Ross. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's the final fight scene, the big final finale scene,
And at
climax of
the
the
end of
movie.
the movie,
Yeah,
Wakanda is revealed to the world to be the actual power that it is.
yeah, and that's it. That's the whole movie.
Boom. Done.
Boom.
In the can.
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad that you mentioned like how great a villain Killmonger is,
yeah.
because he is absolutely my favorite of the MCU villains.
Between Loki and Killmonger, I feel like those are the two villains that everyone just wants more
Yeah.
of.
Hmm.
Oh, so we got about 5 minutes before you have to go, Mike.
I know.
So
But I have to show off my Black Panther
yeah, definitely.
figure.
You want the Black
Nice.
Panther?
Rawr.
Cool. Is that like really superposable? One of the ones with like a bunch of joints and stuff?
It is, yeah, like
Nice.
high
That's great.
articulation, whatever. I
Yeah,
just
that's
have
great.
him in kind of like a crawling, like,
That's cool.
gonna get you kind of pose. And every time our cleaning lady comes over and cleans my toys, she puts him from this pose to this
Uh-huh.
pose, but she doesn't like change his arm positions at all. So it looks like he's just crying at like God. Why me, God? Why me?
Yes, I got to
Yeah.
ask what
So
your thoughts are. Yeah, go.
I love this movie. I knew I was gonna love this movie before it came out. I remember this came out in what, 2018?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, it was spring of 2018, if memory serves, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Uh,
That
sure it
sounds
came
right.
out in February because I
Mm.
remember thinking like, oh, it
yeah,
has to drop during Black History Month.
Yeah.
that's right, it did. I forgot about that. I saw this for the first time at um not that this theater means anything to you guys, but 84th Street on the Upper West Side. It's 84th in Amsterdam at the AMC Theater, Upper West Side. And I knew it was going to be good. I didn't I wasn't prepared for how great this movie was going to
Mm.
be. Um, it in a lot of ways, it was one of the first MCU films that kind of transcended the comic book genre. Yes, it's comic booky. Yes, they have lots of comic references. Yes, they were, even in the post-credit scene, they've got Bucky Barnes as the White Wolf kind of like hanging out and doing whatever. So like it is very well integrated and tied into the bigger world of the MCU. But as a standalone story, like take all the comic book references away. Take this out of Wakanda or Africa, or like put the same exact story beat for beat in any other culture anywhere, whether you transpose it into a business setting, whether you put it into like a presidential setting or like whatever. This movie is it tells a universal truth that the powers in charge can either be for good or they can be corrupted. And a lot of times we have those underlying people who have been wronged by the good guys. Like, is there any such thing as the is anyone absolved from absolute righteousness? I don't know. I don't know, but it kind of it kind of resembles the world that we live in a little bit. That there are figures that we all look up to, and no one is perfect. T'Chaka, as much as his son idolized him, made mistakes. He didn't realize how severe his mistakes were. Whether he was just kind of like, oh man, maybe this isn't the best choice to make, but I've got to, I have to save face. I have to save my country. I have to do what I feel is right. In the moment, he did what he thought was right, what was right. But ultimately, it came back to not just bite him in the butt. Well, I mean, like it really bit everybody else in the butt, right?
Yeah.
He created out of his own mistakes a true terror and a true threat to his own people. And now it's T'Challa's business, and now it's T'Challa's problem. And I don't know. Anyway, I feel like this is a story that we can all relate to. Anybody. It doesn't. It's not just empowerment for um uh I feel weird saying this, but it's not just empowerment for the Black community, of which it is very much so, uh, as it needs to be. But this is the kind of movie that transcends that, and it allows anyone who watches it an opportunity to be like, "Wow, A, that's a great story," but also B, I can see myself in these characters. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah. Like we were saying before, with Killmonger as such a great character. Like it's one of the few villains that we see in the MCU movies that is like, he makes a lot of good points. He's only a bad guy in just kind of how he decides to deal with these issues, but he's not necessarily wrong for most of the stuff that he's saying.
Well, I mean, in modern storytelling, that's how we define our villains, right? They're not just like these snidely whiplash, like mustache twirling, I'm gonna get you.
Right.
Like they actually believe, like Thanos is another one. They actually believe that what they're not just that what they're doing is right, but like you point out, their logic is sound. That's what made Civil War such a great film, is because I walked away with it going, wow, Tony Stark was on the wrong side of history. And then other people that I sat down and watched the movie with were like, "Oh man, Captain America, he was on the wrong side of history." And you're like, "Hang on, how did we watch the same movie and had very different viewpoints on this?"
Right.
Right? Because you can look at these characters and say, "No, no, no, I believe in that person's cause." And I guarantee there were people who watched Black Panther and sit down and go, "No, no, no, I believe in Killmonger's cause."
Yeah, like if for the people that are like comic book fans, one thing that you might recognize is the old Magneto was right shirt that came out of Grant Morrison's X-Men run.
Right.
After this movie came out, I started to see shirts that have the silhouette of the African mask that Killmonger stole from the museum,
Mm.
and then underneath it says Killmonger was right.
Wow.
And like that's the it's a very good villain where the audience is going to be like, no, but he has a point. And my only problem with the way that the movie treated him is it does the same thing to Killmonger that it does to every villain that has a really good point. They're just like, oh, I think the audience is sympathizing a lot with this character. We better have him kill some randos.
Yeah. Better have him shoot his girlfriend in the
Hmm.
face. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. Like it was almost like from a storytelling perspective, like I understand why the girlfriend character was there just so that we can be like, oh, he is so clearly the bad guy.
Mm.
But she was just there to be was it Mary Sue?
Mm.
Is that's the term, right?
I don't know.
No,
What do you
Mary
mean by
Mary
that?
Sue is when
Yeah.
someone is like the most special person and they have like all of the best characteristics and everything.
Yeah.
What's the gimmick when a female character dies to give the male
Mm.
character motivation to go
Fridged.
off?
Yeah. So something about a
Fridge, that's
fridge.
what it
Yeah.
is. Yes. Yep. She was a fridge.
Yeah, she got fridged
That's
Yeah.
completely in the movie. She was there for no purpose other than to tell that plot point about Killmonger that
yeah,
he is a
he's the
person
bad
who's
guy.
willing to kill. Yeah,
Yeah.
for nothing.
Can we talk about his scars all over his body
Yeah.
and how awesome that was?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, damn. And his hair,
Yeah.
totally on point.
Michael B. Jordan. He's got a thing. Because I was thinking about it with Okay, now I can't think of her name. Rachel McAdams. I think we were talking about her for Doctor Strange. Of like, there's such like check all the boxes, like completely perfect looking, good looking people that like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of boring that they're so good looking that
It's
it. Yeah.
I Margot Robbie, I feel like,
Mm.
is one of those people that falls in that category, and the
Right.
first time I ever saw her in anything was The Wolf of Wall Street, and I'm just like, it's just unfair how good looking a human can be,
Yeah.
and I had no connection to her whatsoever until she played Harley Quinn, and
Mm.
that's when I was like, "Alright, this is she's pretty cool."
Right.
She's like one of those people that is just so disgustingly good looking, you just wanna hate them. But then when they do something really fun and really great and really charismatic, like Timothy Chalamet is another guy. Like, how unfair that a human being gets to be that good look.
Right.
Same thing with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
they're so good. Idris Elba, you're so good looking. How are the rest of us surviving?
The thing that's really interesting with Margot Robbie, and this is a tangent that takes us away from the movie,
Mm.
so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But the amount of her own stunts that she does is not what
Yeah.
you would expect from someone that good looking.
Is she like a
But
Tom Cruise?
uh,
Does she
part of
like
it, part of it I think is that she does enjoy doing that kind of stuff, but I think the other part of it is that she learns how to do them extremely quickly.
Good for
Like
her.
Yeah.
I've heard that with the Birds of Prey movie that she was in, it like there was it was mostly her during the action scenes, and it's just like, wait, so she's this ridiculously good-looking person who is like also able to master all of these things in like a couple of tries. What the hell?
Right.
She she's like
Talent.
genetically engineered.
Yeah, that's. I mean, speaking of genetically engineered, Black Panther.
Mm.
I don't know. That's my segue. It's a bad segue. I don't know where I was going with
Yeah.
it.
Oh, but we are gonna have to say goodbye to you soon. I know you gotta
I know.
get
Yeah.
going.
Unfortunately, I have to go fly the.
Yeah.
I guess we're back to friendly skies again.
We haven't been friendly for a while.
I don't know. It's
No.
Uh, Before you go, one thing that I did want to ask you,
yeah.
you talked about the first time that you had watched the movie and how blown away you are. I'm sure that you've rewatched it between then and now, but with the most recent rewatch, how are you feeling about the movie? Does it still hold up as much as that first time where you were just blown away?
So I'm glad that you asked me that because this is the point that I wanted to make before the show started and we got to talking and I totally forgot. Um, every single time I go to rewatch this movie, I always have this thought of like in my mind, I remember this as just being like a great or like a movie that I enjoyed, but I rarely remember how truly great of a film this is and how
Mm.
fun of a watch it is because you can have great movies like um I don't know, Lord of the Rings, right? Great movies, but it's hard to sit down and rewatch them again because a the length, but also like it's just some movies just don't lend themselves for multiple rewatches, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, in my brain, in my memory, I have decided that Black Panther is one of those movies that, yeah, it's a great movie, but I don't know about the rewatchability. And then as soon as you hear like the um bum 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 bum, like the music and everything else that comes with it, it's so exciting to me and I love it. Every single time I sit down to rewatch this movie, I go, I remember that I liked it, and then by the end of it, I'm like, "Oh, I forgot how much I love
Yeah.
this movie." It's just so it's electric. Boogie woogie woogie boo.
Yeah. So they wrote the song about.
Oh, I love that theme song so
Yeah.
much.
It's great. The soundtrack, the score and the soundtrack of this movie is
Was it
really
Mhm.
really hits.
Ludwig?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Now I have to
Yeah.
look it up. I think it's Ludwig someone,
Goranson or something like that.
yeah. Hold on. Sorry, I'm eating up time. I'm eating up time. Ludwig Göransson. Yeah.
Yeah. To look up other stuff he's done because I don't even know.
Like, that's all you need to
Yeah.
hear. You just need to hear those opening, like, "Trigonometry," or whatever it is to say. And it's just like it just gets you. It gets inside of you, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's so exciting. So fun." No, I love this movie
Right.
inside and out.
Oh, it's a great one.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
Well,
Before we
thanks
say
for
good,
having me. I'm
yeah,
sorry that I could only stay
yeah.
for a very short period of time, and we had
No.
audio issues going into it, so
I'm glad to spend any time I can with you. So it's great to
We're
see it.
always happy to
Yeah,
have you
yeah,
on.
yeah,
oh, I love talking to you guys. Let's do this more often. I
yeah.
need to have more
Definitely.
Mondays available is what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep talking
Cool.
up Black Panther. Enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Cool. Before you say goodnight, you got anything you want to plug?
I well, I mean, I have my YouTube channel, Gotta Love Them Movies, on the YouTubes. I haven't been posting videos on it very much lately. I've been working on a new thing,
Ooh.
getting back
Ooh.
into improv, getting back into my roots. into my teaching roots.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm starting my own improv company. It's weird.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Awesome.
Nice.
but not a theater. I'm not starting a
Mm.
theater. But I'm starting a company where I'll be teaching improv to corporate businesses.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah.
Current
Right
I
on.
mean, yeah, that's all I got going on.
Yeah. Awesome.
Mouse rat.
That's right.
All right.
All right.
Thanks guys. Have fun
Yeah.
talking Black
Good to see
Panther.
ya.
Enjoy. I will
Yep.
talk to you
Have a good night.
soon.
Bye.
Bye everybody.
How often have
Right.
you rewatched this movie, Dave?
I think this is my first rewatch. I feel like I saw it, like some of it on TV at some point in the last
Yeah,
couple of years. But yeah,
like
it's my first
this
time really
is.
rewatching it.
I want to say that this is probably the second most. Well, not the second most rewatched movie, but the one that I see on television the second most often
Mm.
because, uh, like I said, whenever I'm complaining about the movie, I feel like TNT constantly plays Age of Ultron over
Ah,
and over again just to spite me.
right. They got a good
But
deal
they
on it.
also play this one a lot too.
Cool.
And it definitely does hold up to repeated rewatches, like he was saying. Uh, Literally, my only problem with this movie
Mm.
is the CGI in that final
Yeah.
fight
Ooh,
scene.
so bad.
It there like it's just of so much lower quality than every other part of the movie,
No.
and it sucks because you're taking this movie that like if that was there, this would easily be like top three
Right.
of all of
Oh yeah.
the MCU stuff. But with the ending that feels that deflated, uh, it's hard to rank it quite that high, but
Yeah.
still top five
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. It's good. It's like no. So you were talking about. You've talked before about how like Eric Killmonger. Like his last words were about how let me die and bury me in the sea with all the other slaves that jumped in the water because they knew it was better to die free or whatever than to drown would be better than to live in captivity or whatever it was that he was saying. Like, his own is very powerful and
hmm
a
It
really
it was
great moment.
one of the
Yeah,
coldest lines in the MCU,
yeah.
easily.
He says it and then he pulls the CGI knife out of his CGI chest and it looks really bad. And I go, oh, it just takes all of the kind of sucks the energy out of the moment if you're
hmm
paying attention to that stuff. So. Yeah, that and then also I was thinking during the car chasing, there's also some like Black Panther's CGI body doesn't look good in that either. But like the remote control car stuff that Sherry's doing looks cool. And when Okoye gets up on top of the she climbs out on top of the car and starts throwing the spear through the truck. Like, that's cool. All that stuff looks cool. It's just the when Black Panther is all CGI and jumping around, it doesn't look good.
It, it lacks weight.
Yeah.
Is like my biggest issue with the CGI when it comes to the Black Panther stuff.
Mm.
And there's times where he's doing the Black Panther stuff, and you're just like, oh yeah, no, like I can definitely imagine a person doing this. Like you can feel
Mm.
the jumping and the hitting and all that stuff. And there's other ones where it's just like, oh yeah, it's a little CGI doll.
Yeah. That's the one a great shot that I really liked it when he first goes into the like ambushes those guys in their convoy and stuff, and they're like searching around for him, and they just look up in the tree, and he's looking down at him like the predator. I was like, that's fucking cool.
hmm
But then yeah, later on when he's doing the other Rubber Man stuff, it doesn't look great.
Yeah, it that's really the only problem with the movie.
No.
And I have to wonder like how much of it was just like if they decided to replot these scenes and
Mm,
the CGI ended up being last minute or
I
what.
think it was something like that.
And the sad thing is like and I know that this is a MCU
Mm,
podcast and we've already talked about DC stuff, but I wanted to circle back again.
yeah.
Like this movie came out in early 2018. Mid 2017, Wonder Woman, the DC
Mm,
movie, came out. And that one had almost exactly the same problem, where it was this great movie with a lot of like the focus on empowerment, but there was also good story, good
Mm.
acting, and things looked cool as hell. And then the third act, giant fight scene, was just a CGI mess.
Yeah.
And it's just like I remember when I watched Wonder Woman and I was so disappointed by that. And I was just like, man, that was a really good movie right up until the big fight scene at the end where everything's supposed to be the most important stuff. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And Black Panther did it again.
I think there's something about how the studios get involved with those big finale fight scenes and stuff, and because so much of it is CGI and stuff, they don't have the director there for all of it. It's all kind of being done by a bunch of nerds on computers and somewhere else, so he doesn't a lot of it, those directorial decisions and things that would make it better kind of gets
Hmm.
lost in
Yeah,
the
like I wonder
machine.
how much of it was
Yeah,
like, here's the storyboards for it, and then you guys
right.
just do
Yeah,
whatever.
they go and they make it, and then he can only have them change it so much without it costing an extra $100 million or something.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the first time I watched this movie, like instantly everyone recognizes that Killmonger's story is like the most relatable story for us as Americans, especially. You can see it, and that's like it shines a lot, especially because Michael B. Jordan does such a great job with it.
Hmm.
And like I felt like T'Challa's like his arc and his story for the movie about Black Panther. Black Panther story is kind of weak, and everybody else kind of shines more than he does. But I think in second rewatch, it's like uh, it's like one of the last things. Well, it's something his father tells him when he goes to talk to him on the astral plane. But it's hard for a good man to be a king, and what you have to do is you have to surround yourself with people that you trust that'll get you through the hard times and stuff. And so that so much of his success, his character success in the movie, and being able to win in the end is through his sister and Okoye and Lupita Nyong'o's
Nakia.
character. Yeah, like all the people that he has around him, and to be a good king, he's got to do all of to rely on them so much. So it's a weird and more subtle arc you have to kind of pay attention to. It's like it's not about what he's doing; it's more or less what he's allowing the other people to do.
Hmm.
And then also the whole big thing about Wakanda, opening themselves up to the world is a big thing, but it doesn't hit as much because we already know that the world kind of sees it, Wakanda, even though they talk about it being like a third world country. In the movie, we don't ever really see that, so it weakens that a little bit, I think. So it
Hmm.
doesn't, like I said, his story doesn't shine as much because with the theme and everything, the way that Killmonger's does.
Yeah, Killmonger definitely has a more easily identified storyline.
Yeah.
I think the thing with T'Challa's story is that because of so much of his storyline is basically like figuring out which way is the right way to go
Mm,
with all of the different voices surrounding him telling him like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. uh the fact that he is conflicted about exactly what he wants to do, it doesn't always come across as being conflicted and thoughtful.
mm,
And I think at first glance, it's like, oh yeah, he's boring and indecisive.
right. He feels more
Yeah,
passive. Yeah.
yeah. Where and I had mentioned the Killmonger was right shirts, but when you really look at the end of the movie, what it comes down to, uh, where a lot of people were like looking at the ending where Wakanda reveals himself to the world as just like, oh yeah, Killmonger did have it right. He just wanted to do things in a bad way. And it's
Mm,
like, no, this is exactly what Nakia was asking for from as soon as she was introduced in the movie,
right.
basically. And finally, after the whole thing, he decides to listen to her.
Yeah. And that's the moral of the story. It's just listen to your woman, everybody.
Mhm. Do you have a love interest? She's probably smarter than you
Yeah.
if you're a guy.
Yeah. And they get a kiss in this one, which is nice. I like that.
Hmm. So where did this end up on your list?
So I had it. Trying to think where I had it originally because it's always been pretty high, but never super high. I think it moved up a little bit, like I say, because I just kind of saw more of what they were doing with T'Challa's storyline there. I've got it at number 6, right between, right under Captain America, right above the first Avengers movie now. And I think previously, where did I have it? I had it also at number 6, between
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Ant Man. So yeah, it's strange that like the last 3 movies I think haven't actually moved from where I
hmm
had them originally, which is strange. So, well,
On
how about you, Chad?
my old list, I had this at the number 3 movie,
Mm,
behind Iron Man and Winter Soldier. After this rewatch, as well as all of the other additional rewatches that I have, where I've just, like I said, I've seen this movie kind of a lot, or at least parts of the movie, and I really like it, but I don't like, part of me wants to put it above Thor because,
mm,
like, the highs in this movie are so much higher.
right.
But honestly, like, and I know that I value this movie way, way above uh any sort of reasonable expectation for where people are putting Thor on their lists. But
Right.
I still feel like after rewatching it, I'm just like, damn, that was a really well put together movie
Yeah.
that it just so happens that Rory doesn't care at all about. But yeah, I would put this in between Thor and Captain America: First Avenger at the
No,
number 4
right.
spot.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good spot. It's high up there, but it's not perfect. It's got a lot of good stuff. And another thing I wanted to bring up with this, now that you talk about Thor, so it reminds me a lot of Thor, and then also Aquaman, where they do a lot of world building in this, but
Mhm.
I think better than they do in I think any of the comic book movies, is where you get like these alternate civilizations going on.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
how we get yeah.
this one has better world building than literally anything else in the MCU, I think.
Mm. So I definitely watch it and I go, I want to know more about what's going on here. And I just love the part when they talk when they're doing the waterfall, the first fight one, and like every tribe goes, oh, we're not going to challenge you, but we learn there's a river tribe and a merchant tribe and the borders, and there's a lot of exposition and a lot of like I just like the seeing all these different tribes with their colors and stuff. I'm like, oh, I want to know what's going on with these people.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I like that it was yeah they did a lot of research and a lot of trying to be accurate to real African cultures and stuff with the way they had the
Yeah, if you get the chance to, like, definitely look for the actual physical copy of this movie
mm.
so that you can look at all the behind the scenes featurettes, because
Oh,
there's
okay.
so much behind the scenes stuff that
Cool.
was going on when they were designing the look
Mm.
of everything in the movie. And a there's like a roundtable discussion between like some of the people that made the movie and some of the people that made the comics,
Alright. Oh,
and
cool.
it's just a basically everything on that DVD is good.
Right. Yeah, I need to check that out. I wonder if it's on Disney Plus. I didn't even check. 'Cause I know
I
sometimes they
don't
have special feature stuff on there. I don't know.
I've never found any of the special feature
Oh,
stuff
okay.
on
I
Disney
haven't looked.
Plus,
Okay.
which doesn't mean that it's not there. It's
Right.
just I don't know how to use Disney Plus that good, I
Okay.
guess.
Well, I do it on my desktop, so then maybe it's easier to find. I can find there's usually at least deleted scenes. I don't know as far as the behind the scenes stuff, but I figure it's just different for whatever they've got available.
I'm
Yeah.
99% sure that I have it on Blu-ray, so
Oh,
maybe I'll let you borrow it if you can't
cool.
find
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, when I went to see this movie, I went with my wife, and she was in Africa for 2 years in South Africa with the Peace Corps, and
hmm
like things would happen, or someone would say something, or they'd be dressed a certain way. She's like, "Oh, that's like these people or those people." I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's like it's nice and accurate. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And another thing about this movie is the way that they worked on the accent for the Wakandans, and how it's
hmm
supposed to be like how these people would have learned English, but not, as a colony. So they weren't colonized. So they're not putting up, British English as like the height of refinement or whatever. So how do you, what
hmm
kind of, how do you have that, African accent in there without the colonization part in there? So that was another thing they put a lot of work into, and it's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one of the great things about this movie is that I always bring up like how a lot of these MCU movies they like take a passing glance at some real world issue, and
Mm,
then they're just like, okay, we've acknowledged that that's a thing. Moving on.
right. Yeah.
Whereas this movie kind of never stops looking at all of the real world implications.
Mm,
Like the only thing where it doesn't really adjust to real world implications is exactly how advanced Wakanda is
right.
compared to literally everyone else.
Yeah. There's that, and then there's the thing that I thought about the first time I saw it. Like after he goes to the UN and he says, we're going to share our technology with all the governments of the world, right? And it's like it's cool, but also like when we think about who's oppressing all of the black people and the poor people of the world, it's the governments of the world doing that. So
Hmm.
the what's going to end up happening if this were real is that in a couple of years cops would be shooting people with plasma weapons instead of regular guns, and
Hmm.
that's all that would really change. But yeah. Yeah, aside from that, what was I gonna say? There's something else I wanted to talk about before we left. Oh, Killmonger's outfits were really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know that Michael B. Jordan is an anime fan?
yeah, I heard that because he wears like the Vegeta
Yeah.
inspired
Like I
armor and
I
stuff.
remember
Yeah.
when I watched the movie for the first time, I was like, that armor reminds me of something, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Right.
And then later, someone pointed out that it's Vegeta's armor, and I'm like, what a fucking nerd.
That's awesome that they got him to do that. I think that's great. But even his lion mask, I think it looked really cool.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then when we get to the end where he's wearing his gold Black Panther CGI outfit, that looks dumb. And it's like, oh man, did such a good job with everything else, and then yeah, it just kind of there's like a 10-minute period towards the end of the movie where like you stop paying attention.
Because it's just CGI dolls flinging at each
Yeah.
other.
And the last thing I wanted to bring up was the during that final fight when they get together in the big field and everyone's got their energy shields and stuff like that's very Phantom of the Menace. Phantom Mentis, not Phantom of the Mentis. Mentis isn't a word.
Very Phantom Menace Gungans versus the
Yeah,
droids.
battle droids. Yeah. But yeah, so I kept thinking about that when I was watching it. I don't think I can see anybody with any sort of energy shields like that and not think
Especially on a
Gungans.
lush green field.
Yeah,
Like you might not necessarily think about it like that if they were like in the desert fighting.
right. Yeah, 'cause I don't think you think about it too much in Endgame when they show up. And they've got their things, but definitely when they're lining up in the big field, yeah. So there's got to be a mashup somewhere on YouTube, which I should have looked that up instead of this kissing scene. But we got a kiss in this one. We haven't had a kiss in a while.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you have any other thoughts you wanted to share before we say goodnight to everyone? I'm trying to think if I had anything else.
The
Big.
only other thing that I had thought about pointing out was I don't know if you heard about the story of the girl that broke her retainer.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Okay.
Tell the people.
Yeah, no, there's apparently a very funny story where a dentist or an orthodontist or something tells a story about, uh, and this is on, I think, Tumblr or Twitter,
Mm,
I'm not sure.
right.
Uh, he tells a story about how one of his patients, a teenage girl, snapped her retainer in half because her jaw clenched so hard when Killmonger took his shirt off in the
Right.
movie. And the girl was on Tumblr or Twitter or whichever
Right.
website this happened on, and she's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that my dentist told everyone about that." And Michael B. Jordan
Right.
reached out and said, "Hey, I'll pay for the new retainer since this is kind of my fault."
Such a
And I'm
cool
just
guy
like,
thing to do.
"Man, the internet's really cool
Yeah.
sometimes. Not very often, but
Yeah.
sometimes."
Every once in a while, a celebrity will seek out a teenage girl, and something good will happen. It
Mhm.
would warm all of our hearts.
Usually, when celebrities search out teenage girls, bad things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Every once in a while, it's a good thing. Yeah. Oh, there's something else I wanted to. Oh, we can't have a discussion about Black Panther without mentioning that we do have the Hobbit in this movie and Gollum. They're the only two white dudes in the movie, really, and that makes them the Tolkien white guys.
Ah,
An old joke
yes.
that's been around for a while, but you have to mention it.
Yeah, just you have to mention that
Yeah,
joke. Just like we brought up several other things from the internet.
yeah. All
All
right,
right,
so
so next week
yeah,
we're doing the live watch for Infinity War.
yeah, that's right. With guest TBD, but we'll find out. It'll be fun. So yeah, hopefully to see everybody there for the movie. How long is that? Is that a 3 hour long movie? It's
Mm,
close.
it's like 240, I want to say.
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
149 minutes.
oh, okay.
So that's 229.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not terrible.
Yeah, it feels like a longer movie than it is.
Yeah. Well, there's a
Which,
lot going on. So
yeah, not because it's boring, but it's just so jam packed full of stuff.
yeah, let's go. I'm looking forward to watching it. And we'll have Rory back next week, and yeah, so we will ride out tonight on this video of T'Challa and Nakia kissing at the end of Black Panther. See you all next week for our watch along of the Avengers, Infinity War. That's what it's called, Infinity War. See you guys then. Bye. Really start zooming in when the kiss actually happens.
Thank you. You saved me. You saved my family. Our nation.
There is nothing to thank me for. It is our duty to... It was my duty to fight for what I love. I should have...
Oh, there it is. It's a good kiss. Surprise kisses are sometimes the best kisses. But anyways,
God
there it
blame me,
goes.
I almost died.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's the kiss you want.
Stay.
Yeah, well, good night, everybody.